Welcome, everybody, to the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. This is Jim Masters, your host. See your screen. John Forster is here. He's amazing, Grammy nominated and award-winning songwriter, singer, humorist, music producer, and so much more. And he's joining us from New York. That's right. And he is by his piano. That's not him there, live. That is a still. He's not stuck with that expression. He's got a smile on his face, though that is a great shot of him. And we just did a sound check, getting everything all squared away because he's going to play live for us as well. And I want to tell you just a little bit about his extraordinary background as he's going to join us. We're going to tell you about an incredible series of concert events and lots more that's coming up as he joins us here on the Jim Masters Show. I am your host, Jim Masters. Good to see you. Good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us all around the world on our entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. Hope your day is going well. It is always awesome when you're here. If this is your first time, welcome to our show. I am your host and producer. We're going to have a good time. Lots of music, great conversation. And don't forget, you can interact as well with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. It doesn't cost anything. And you can comment in our JMS Lovelady Hall chat room. That is the actual chat room we have that is up and running when the shows are airing, when they're on. So you want to be a part of the chat right now while it's happening, you can do that. And you could also always, leave a comment on our YouTube channel underneath this episode, as well as a little comment section. However you would like to do it, you're always welcome to do it here on the Jim Masters Show. So it's really cool to have him here, and it's so great to have you here as well. And thanks for all the great love, comments, and support for our series. We have done hundreds and hundreds of shows for all of you, for your entertainment and information, and just to put a smile on your face, right? And the world certainly needs a little bit more of that. And that's what we're doing. And we've been doing it for a long time now. I can't believe we're coming up on almost 3 years' time, which is unbelievable. John's been doing his thing for a long time as well. I want to tell you a little bit about his background, and then he's going to join us. An award-winning songwriter, humorist, record producer whose work encompasses the worlds of singing and songwriting, musical theater, and even children's entertainment as well. As a recording artist, John's 1994 debut album, Entering Marion, got an Indie Award. That's right, HM, the independent records label's Grammy, and also the comedy album. Many of his witty topical songs have been featured on NPR's Morning Edition. His songs have been recorded by Christine Lavin, Judy Collins, Rosanne Cash, and so many others, the late Dave Van Ronk, and many, many others. His song, Entering Marion, is included in Dr. Demento's 50 Greatest Novelty Songs of All Time. John is also co-author of the children's books This Pretty Planet, based on his song, as well as the Backwards Birthday Party, and the teen parody book, as well, the BSAT Official Study Guide, running press as a writer and producer of bright, sassy music for children. John has been nominated for 4 Grammy Awards, most recently for the Tom Chapin album, Some Assembly Required. Other children's albums include Family Tree, This Pretty Planet, Billy the Squid, and a dozen more. He's produced records for everyone from the Olsen twins to the original Tot Rock band, Rosenschantz. John's song, Sing Me the Story of Your Day, was sung by Faith Hill on the 2006 Grammy-winning Thanksgiving. His musicals have included the favorite Eleanor, An American Love Story, also, as well, Into the Light on Broadway and the off-Broadway reviews of Pretzels and A Good Swift Kick. His latest is Marielle, an Afro-Cuban immigration story commissioned by the Cincinnati Playhouse. His scores for young audiences include the perennial How to Eat Like a Child, one of the most widely produced children's shows in the country, as well as book and lyrics for Freaky Friday with composer Mary Rogers. And that literally, gang, that is just the short list of the many things and the many accomplishments he has really shared with all of us through his incredible wit and wisdom and his great talent and his musical prowess and so much more. We are honored to have him here on the show, coming to us again from just north of New York City. Here's John. Hey, John, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Jim. Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm delighted.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Beautiful weather we're getting here. We're blessed in the Northeast on a day like today, huh?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a
Oh,
little bit summery.
yeah.
Yeah, a little
Well,
scary, you know. It's,
it's kind of I know this has been the time period where we had hardly any snow, if at all, throughout the winter, and I think we left all of it in California. Never made it here in this area. I don't know about you.
by the way, Jim, you mentioned Christine Lavin. She says hi. I was just
Oh,
texting
she's
with her.
terrific. Oh,
Isn't
that's
she great?
fantastic. She
Yeah.
is amazing. She was a guest on our show, and we had such an amazing time. And she's just really super talented, like you are as well.
I,
You
I'm
know,
out on tour with her right now, actually, with Buskin and Bateau and
is
Christine.
wow.
So
Where are you headed with that tour? What are some of the places you're headed?
it's mainly New England. We were up in Northampton and Schenectady.
Oh yeah,
We're actually at the New York City Winery this Saturday.
City
It's a
Winery.
matinee show at 2 p.m.
Yes.
But then we're going back to New England. We'll be up at on the 24th, I think it is, or the 20. We're at Bull Run in Shirley on the 26th, and on the 21st we're somewhere.
Somewhere over the rainbow. And then, of course, there's this coming up as well. Don't Tell Mama. And that's just in a couple of days, huh?
Yes, yeah, we're getting
Wow.
ready for that. That one,
Yes.
that's
Congratulations.
going to be
This
fun.
is a CD release and celebration and everything for a 3 night extravaganza, right?
Yes, it is. It's going to be a 70-minute show
Yeah.
of just funny stuff. Um,
Yes.
and the album that we're releasing is called Location, Location, Location.
Hmm.
And it just arrived, or it arrives tomorrow afternoon from the factory. So that's
Wow.
always a moment, you
So
know.
talk about hot off the presses, huh?
It's hot off the presses. Yeah,
So
yeah.
what could people expect? Of course, as I was mentioning, you have a mix of fabulous music, but also lots of humor, and you like to play with the audience and interact with the audience and have a good time and put on a phenomenal show. What can they expect?
I try to make it a party, actually. So, yeah, there is a lot of interaction with the audience. The audience gets vocal sometimes, but what you can expect is a dozen songs, every one of them in a different style, every one of them a completely different point of view. Not all of them funny, but most of them funny. Funny in different ways. Rueful, funny, just sometimes bawdy. Um, I'll do a couple here tonight for you, and you'll get a little idea of what to expect. It's a little hard to
Verbalize?
verbalize it, to sort of capture the variety.
Exactly.
But it's gonna be a really fun show. And I have a guest, Julie Gold. Do
Oh,
you know
sure.
Julie?
Yeah.
Julie is a wonderful singer-songwriter who people mainly know for winning a Grammy for From a Distance, the Bette
Oh,
Midler hit of some years ago.
yes.
And
Yes.
she is a trip. She's always great, one of a kind. And in a couple of weeks on the May 1st show, Christine Lavin, who we just spoke about, will be a guest.
Oh,
Um,
that's fantastic. Wow. So
right.
you are a top talent and you're surrounding yourself with top talent as well. That is fantastic, huh?
Well, I feel lucky to be able to just call up my friends and say, "You want to do my show?" And
You
they
want to
say,
do my
"Yes."
show? Yeah.
Yeah.
How long does it take to actually put the shows together when you're really deciding, what you're going to do, what you're going to offer, and the song selections and the whole thing? How long does it take? Just a little background insider information for the viewers who are like, go to these great shows and they wonder, what is it like to put these things together? How does it, when do you start and how long does it take to do it?
I would say the planning for this started about 3 months ago. And it really starts with getting the room. So I called up Sydney Meyer at Don't Tell Mama, and we talked about when I would be able to do 3 Mondays in a row, and we found some dates. And then I wanted to do plenty of songs from the new album, but not exclusively. So choosing that was a process, and actually, even up till 2 weeks ago, the song list was quite different from what it is now. I have a wonderful director, Jeff Harner, who is a
Oh,
terrific
Jeff.
cabaret.
Yes,
You know
sure. He
Jeff?
was here on the show recently. We had a great time with him.
Jeff is a prince. He's great and had so many good ideas as we started going through the material. And then we found we were way long, so this past rehearsal, we cut 3 numbers. That, that happens. That's show business. So, but the answer to how long it takes, I would say this baby is about 3 months in the making.
That's fantastic. So we encourage folks to get their tickets and go see John and company. You're going to be enjoying a fantastic, fantastic show. How did you get started? Early, when you go backwards a little bit, when we rewind the time machine, what inspired you early on, John? Did you grow up in a family filled with music and artistic expression? What sort of pointed you in the direction of doing this work?
My parents loved music. They weren't professional musicians. I'm the only professional musician in my family, although my sister Frances is a great singer. But what happened was that my 2 brothers and I became choir boys at a very young age. I joined St. Peter's Episcopal Choir when I was 7 years old, and we made money at it. It was $2 a month, and that was good wages for a 7-year-old.
Was that each, or did you split the 2?
No, that was all mine. It was mine. Yes, I got to spend it wherever I want. It was, my parents were Unitarians, but there was no children's choir for the Unitarians. So the big joke in my family was that we were mercenaries.
Yeah.
So that's, it turns out if you just sit in choir looking at music every week, like 3 times a week, eventually a couple years later, I realized I knew how to read music. And that kind of got me started. And then I took up the pipe organ, and also simultaneously I discovered Tom Lehrer. Do you know who Tom Lehrer is?
Oh, sure. Yes.
He was a very subversive, naughty songwriter who wrote Poisoning Pigeons in the Park and The Vatican Rag and things like that. And that stuff was required memorizing for me when I was 8 years old. And so, these early influences, they last, and they teach you how to do stuff.
I like that expression, required memorizing. People have described you, and we said it sort of in our promos, to tune in to hear why you are sort of a little George Carlin, a little Frank Zappa, a little Tom Lehrer, all rolled into one, and you've been described as such. Tell us what a wonderful blend of personalities there, huh?
It is. I'm very flattered. I don't know if it's really true, but I'll take it for PR purposes. Those are all people I admire. George Carlin, what a social commentary person he was. And, Frank Zappa, when the Mothers of Invention came out, I was in college, and that was also required memorizing. So, these things that you memorize when you're young, they really do stay with you. They're like your bag of tricks, in a way.
Yes.
Your points of reference, your anchor points.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How many instruments do you play, and do you still touch the pipe organ?
I do every once in a while. The pipe organ that I acquired when I was young is still in my brother's apartment in New York, and it's a monster. It's it's in there. I don't think they're ever going to get it out.
It's not the one they replaced from Yankee Stadium, is it?
No, this one will never go electric.
This will never go.
It's got 200 pipes.
Wow.
It was, which is not a lot of pipes for a pipe organ, but
right.
There's borrowing and ranks and stuff.
Yeah.
But I really don't. The instruments that are for me in what I do, piano, keyboard is very important, because you deal with a lot of virtual instruments and they're usually controlled from the keyboard. I play guitar some.
Yeah.
But I'm what you'd call a Pro Tools guitarist. Give me enough
Yes.
takes and I'll get exactly what I need.
Yeah.
But if I want it to be thrilling, I hire somebody who really knows what they're doing.
What they're doing, and then sort of sweetens it up a little bit. I mentioned the incredible involvement in children's entertainment and also this as well, this Pretty Planet. Tell us about this entire project and the inspiration for this, John.
Yeah. This Pretty Planet is a song that I wrote with Tom Chapin in about 1988 for
Wow.
the first children's album that he did that was called Family Tree.
Oh, yeah.
And this Pretty Planet was among the very first songs we wrote together.
Hmm.
And it was a song that actually just took off right from the beginning. And I think the reason is thanks to Pete Seeger. When the album came out, Pete picked right up on it. He started singing it and started spreading it. So it's one of these songs where it's never been on a chart, but people sing it around campfires. It got into school curriculums. Kids sing it at assemblies, Unitarian church retreats, whatever. And it has an environmental theme too. So there it was, it started low those many years ago. And then a young editor at Simon & Schuster, whose babysitter had sung her This Pretty Planet when she was very young, was promoted to editorship and was asked to find a project for her first acquisition at Simon & Schuster in the children's department. And she said, how about This Pretty Planet? And
Wow.
so, it's somebody who grew up with it and then said, this would make a great book. You can't make this stuff happen. You just put it out there, you cast it on the waters, and you hope that something fun will happen. And so This Pretty Planet is it's a song that Tom and I have written a lot of children's songs together. And this is one of the best known of them.
What is it like? Tell us about, the experience of writing for children. Do you go back to your own childhood? Do you try to, get into the mind of a child? How do you what's the approach for that, John?
My approach is pretty much to get in touch with my own inner child. My theory is that if it delights me and it's in a sort of appropriate area, then it's going to delight kids. But what's good is if it delights me now as an adult in touch with my inner child, it'll delight the kids' parents too. And that's very handy in the children's music world. The stuff that we've done is stuff that I've been told that it's kind of music that's really good for long car trips. So my joke is that I write these very adult songs, satirical songs, sometimes raunchy songs. People ask me how I do that and write children's stuff. And I say, well, when I write for children, I just get rid of all the sex and I replace it with violence.
That's it's pretty lots of snowball fights. It's pretty appropriate. This
writing for children is something that I like to stay in touch with doing. And the children's music world has been very good to me. I had a good run producing the Olsen twins.
Yeah. What was that like? Yeah, people remember them, of course, from Full House on ABC, but everything else too.
Right. It was a trip. It was.
How did that happen? How did they find you? You find them?
The Tom Chapin's manager, Bob Hinkle, found them, and
Bob Hinkle. He was a guest on our show too. Yeah.
Bob Hinkle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Small world, huh?
Yeah, it is a small world, or a big show.
I was going to say, yeah, I like that better. Yes.
he said that these two little girls on Full House, and we're going to make an album with them. And I said, okay. He said, I'll send you some stuff. And he sent me some stuff, and I listened to it, and I said, they were 5 years old, and I said,
yeah,
there's no album there. You can't make an album. They got to be able to, they're 5 years old and they're not trained at all. He said, do me a favor, whether or not you participate, there is going to be an album made. Get on a plane. They're on location in Vancouver. Go out there, sit with them in the studio, see what they can do, make it work. So I did, and it turned out that they had songs that they really liked, but when we got into the studio, what we found was that samplers were going to be our friends. So we assembled, when they were very young, we just assembled the tracks from them singing a phrase and another phrase and another, and then I would edit them all together. Then as they got more experience, it was more like a regular recording situation. But I tell you, making an album with a 5-year-old is tricky. I just, if you're to do it, come see me and I'll give you some pointers.
And with 2, right? To boot. But there we go. There they are, the Olsen twins. It's about
and people loved the albums. People loved them.
Yes, right. Yeah. Yep. They still do. Yeah, because they're still doing their thing. It's amazing how time flies, huh?
Yeah, and there's one other thing. Just recently, I mean, this was 30 years ago when I first started with them, and they're no longer in the music business; they're in the fashion business.
That's right.
But because of working with them, a song of mine, a song I wrote for them called "Identical Twins," was the theme song for the Gucci runway show in Milan this year.
This year.
Wow. That's a long shelf life,
Literally, yeah. That is so cool, huh?
Yeah.
You never know, right? Because you're hearing a lot of music being used, music that was previously written and aired and sold in a lot of commercials now and used. It's sort of coming back retro. You're hearing little snippets and a lot of today's pop culture.
Yeah. Nothing ever really goes out of date.
No.
Maybe goes out of date for a little while, then it comes back around and it's got context.
So are you saying that anybody watching that still has their bell bottoms should hang on to them because they may come back soon?
Space is an issue. You have to talk to Marie Kondo about that. Yeah. It's like a value proposition. Is it worth it?
Is it? Exactly. That is funny. You mentioned, of course, the songs have been recorded by Christine Lavin, but also the incomparable Judy Collins. I had the pleasure of interviewing her actually on PBS for her 50 years of timeless music special that was captured at the one of the museums in New York City. It was fantastic. What was it like working with Judy Collins and Rosanne Cash and the late Dave Van Ronk? Iconic people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Judy Collins was the one of the original singers on This Pretty Planet on the Family Tree album. It was the 3 parts of the round were sung by Judy, by Tom, and by a chorus of kids. And then she sang on some other things on the album too, a song called Together Tomorrow. She was lovely. She was very focused and very professional, but she was also, had a great spirit about her. It was really fun. Working with Rosanne Cash was the easy. Producing a vocal with Rosanne Cash was the easiest producing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, wow. She was just. If I had a little suggestion, boom, it was there.
She was there.
But
wow.
Yeah. But she's such a good singer too. It's like, I think everything was kind of the first take. And then you do more takes for insurance or to sort of adjust things. But she's a great recording artist.
Yeah. And then, of course, the late Dave Van Ronk as well, and many others you've had an opportunity to work with. And your song, Entering Marion, which I mentioned at the top, included in Dr. Demento's 50 Greatest Novelty Songs of All Time.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Demento.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. It's great, right? Right. That's another one of those things you can't plan.
No.
You can't plan being asked by Gucci to be in their runway show. You can't plan, right? you just, as I said, you just throw it out there, see what happens. But Entering Marion is one of those songs that I can't live down, you know, so I do it pretty much at the end of every show.
Did that piano just play a key by itself? Because your
You
hands
know,
are her little ding. That is cool. Hey, gang, I told him about our Lovelty situation. Everybody's commenting. They're all welcoming you. We've been sprinkling some of the comments in here, and they're happy to have you with us, as am I, John. And they already said you're a Lovelty on the Jim Masters show. Pretty cool, huh?
Tell me exactly what a Lovelty is.
Oh, a Lovelty is a person that is kind and empathetic and respectful and passionate, enthusiastic, friendly, and they like to have a good time as well.
So that's a great definition of a good kind of person to be. I'm honored.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I tell people there are the Grammys and the Emmys and the Oscars and the Tonys and Tellys and Peabodys, but when you get a Lovelty on the Jim Masters show, most people tend to say, the guests, that their feet start tingling. One of our guests said he started levitating. Are your feet tingling right now, John?
Yeah, I have a little bit of neuropathy. They're always tingling a little bit. Just to let me know they're down there.
It's all part of it, right? Exactly. We did a sound check. You wanted to sprinkle in some musical interlude into our fabulous conversation here. What would you like to share with our very passionate and enthusiastic JMS Lovelty audience that's watching right now, my friend?
Well, I thought it would be fun to do a new song called the Zoom song. And this is a song that the MAC Awards are the cabaret awards.
They just had them. Yeah.
They just had them. And this song actually won the award for best comedy song. So, which was kind of fun. I did not expect that.
I tell you.
It's a song that came out of a phone call that I got from my friend Elliot Forrest, who was producing a concert in our community in Nyack that was going to celebrate coming out of lockdown. And he said, could you write a song that is not that sincere? Because we have people doing a lot of sincere songs. And I said, so you want an insincere, so you want a comedy number about the pandemic?
Yeah.
Pandemics are hilarious, right?
Yeah, right.
He said, I knew I could count on you. and so I said, I don't know if that's possible, Elliot. He said, do me a favor, just think about it. So I thought about it and I came up with this song. It's a song, it's a song that's designed to be done not on Zoom. So, I mean, this is StreamYard, it's not Zoom, but it's close enough to Zoom so that it's a song about Zoom. So I thought, I'll just do it for you, okay?
You got it.
Lockdown felt like being sealed in a tomb. We would have gone crazy if it weren't for Zoom. Zoom was warmth, Zoom was contact, Zoom was our safety net. Zoom was perfect until you attempted to sing a duet. Don't try to sing along on Zoom. Don't try to sing with anyone not there in the room. The simplest little ballad turns to note and rhythm salad. So don't try to sing along on Zoom. Don't try to sing along on Zoom. Don't try to sing along on Zoom. Music is like Prozac when there's global gloom, but certain kinds of music should be banned from Zoom. Barbershop turns into slop and doo-wop sounds so odd. Hymns are hell, rounds as well, so please, for the love of God, don't try to sing along on Zoom. that cyber hole where music meets its doom, 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 doom. Where a jacker jumps the rails, even happy birthday fails. So don't try to sing along on everybody. Don't try to sing along. This is where everybody's trying to sing as badly as they can. Try to sing. Okay, everybody put yourselves on mute. As Delta wanes and Omicron fades and the sun comes out, what's the thing we love the most? The thing we're ecstatic about? We don't have to sing along on Zoom. Now the entire choir's right there in the room. Concert halls, live applause. We rejoice again because we don't have to sing along on three-part harmony. We don't have to sing along on 10-part harmony. We don't have to sing along on 1,000-part harmony. We don't have to sing along on Zoom.
Figured I'd do a little of that too. Where people start talking, but you don't hear them because they're muted. That's definitely that kind of, it's a whole new world with that. And you're so right. I love where you froze there a little bit too, because with Wi-Fi, that happens all the time. That's a cool song. That's really great. Welcome to the new world, huh?
Yeah, really.
I wonder who came up with the name for that too, for that streaming platform, for Zoom, because of course you remember too the PBS Kids show, right? Zoom.
Sure. Come on and Zoom, 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 Zoom,
Zoom, Zoom. Boston, Mass. 02134. That's what the kids used to. Yeah.
Come on and Zoom, 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 Zoom.
Yeah. Exactly. Are you on Zoom a lot, or do you try to take a Zoom break?
It's, for me, it's not a happy platform musically because of exactly what I put into the song.
Yeah.
Music sounds
muffled and distorted, and
it just doesn't sound good. Yeah.
It's not it's so true. It is. Yeah.
So Zoom concerts, I think were a blessing to the world of singer-songwriters during the pandemic. And I have friends who got very good at doing Zoom concerts and playing to the camera on Zoom concerts. It was its own kind of genre, in fact. But I never got really comfortable with it. And now the beauty part is I don't have to.
No, you don't have to, because the world is open for business. Exactly.
I'm looking forward to just full houses at Don't Tell Mamas. It's just being there with people. It's just great.
If we came over to your house and we were going to go into your recording equipment or your phone or whatever it may be, maybe even your boom box, what would be in it? What is John like? What does John like to consume as far as music?
Oh, my tastes are really Catholic. With a small c. I listen to everything. I started as a classical music baby, and then I became a Beatle baby, and I, loved pop music forever. I love all sorts of different ethnic musics. I wrote a score of Afro-Cuban music because I loved it so much. And I love alternative music. There's a lot of great stuff out there. I hear people complain about music these days. Probably it's a generational thing, but I think we're in a golden age of creativity. The fact that everybody can hear everything means that the cross-pollinizing is off the charts. And I like to cross-pollinize with the best of them. So pollinate.
It is springtime. There's a lot of that
Yeah,
going on about now.
yeah. There's songs coming in the window.
They're just coming in the window. Um, then there's, of course, the digital versus analog conversations. You probably appreciate all of the above, right?
Well, I appreciate what analog recording can do. There's natural compression
Yes.
that gives records a
Warmer
nice
and
sound, but mainly I don't worry about it too much.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess I'm more interested in the content than the
Delivery method.
audio fine fine points.
Right,
You
exactly.
know, every songwriters though now have to be producers,
Yes.
engineers. You know,
Yeah.
we
Every
just
actor's doing self-tapes now out of their houses
exactly
and yeah.
right. And when actors need to, they can give themselves a close up.
Right. Or they can do a retake or edit it out or
Right.
until it's perfect. Exactly.
Like, are you good at editing on Final Cut Pro and stuff like that? You must. Do you?
Yeah, 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 from the working in television and radio, but I remember we used to splice tape at the radio stations and
Sure.
had cart machines. And sometimes, there'd be a song on a cart and you'd put the cart in. And if the person before you that was on the on-air shift didn't take those Q-tips and go inside the machine with the special oil and clean, the
The capstan. Yeah.
inside, you put the card in when you're on, and all of a sudden the song is like muffled and
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
people went through to provide joy and entertainment is extraordinary. Now it's a
Right.
press of a button. Now you
Right.
don't even have to be there. One of the stations I worked with on the FM side, DJ would come in, the announcer would come in, pre-record and back sell the songs, pre-record everything, and would pre-record about a 4-hour on-air shift in about 20 minutes, upload it to the computer, and go home. And you can always tell, it's a little secret for the audience, I guess. You can always tell when what you're listening to, especially on the air, radio, what have you, isn't live when they don't necessarily say the exact time. They'll say it's 5 after the hour. That could be any hour. It's 5 before the hour.
Uh,
And just plug it in. It could be any hour.
uh, yeah.
Wherever the computer pulls it from. I know that's one of the advantages of all of it as well. You have another song there you want to also tell us
Sure.
about the beautiful instrument that is in front of you. That's a gorgeous piano.
This is a Yamaha. Um, it's studio upright. Um, it's my workhorse. I've actually just about worn the action out. It needs a new action. They don't tell you that pianos wear out, but they do. And I have another Yamaha in the other room that is even more worn out. So maybe I'll get a two for on actions. Um, yeah, my studio is upstairs, but we're actually in my kitchen right now
Really?
because I feel that every kitchen should have a piano in it.
Should have a piano.
Um,
I thought there was this aroma coming through the screen of bread baking in an oven. I mean, now I put it all
yeah,
together.
would you like some? I'll
Yeah,
put some
yes.
in the food drive.
Could you put yeah. Is it like what everybody baked during the pandemic? Sourdough bread? A
Yeah.
lot of that was baked during what how did you get through it? What were you doing and what are some of the things and we've talked about this with some of the guests and with our viewers as well. It's been a learning experience, a learning curve and
Yeah.
something that we could never have predicted or scripted.
Yeah.
What has John learned about John during the time of reflection, this downtime, this time of sort of rebooting and pausing and breathing and seeing what's going on? What are some of the things you've come out of it with in you, John?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. And I think for a lot of us, it made us value our connections to people so much more once they were cut off. And the whole thing of Zooming with your friends, that became common for me. I still Zoom every week with my college roommates who are dear friends. And even though we're out of lockdown, we've seen no reason to stop it. So there are people I've known since college, but I got a lot closer to them really because of the pandemic. My siblings, we still Zoom every week, and that's been also it's been great. So that's one of the things I've learned. I used it as a opportunity. I called a couple of friends, Tom Tose and Hillary Rollins, who are both songwriters, and I said, "You want to do a project together that is based on pandemics?" And they said, "What do you have in mind?" And I was thinking of a piece of Italian literature from the 14th century called the Decameron. And it is 10 friends during the plague of 1348 who meet outside of the cathedral in Florence. And they say, this is really depressing because it was bad. And they said, let's get out of town. So they rent a villa up in Fiesole, up in the hills of Tuscany. And they all go up there and they spend 2 weeks there. I guess they thought it was all going to blow over in 2 weeks, and they, to entertain each other, they told each other stories. So they were there for 10 days of telling stories, 10 of them. So that makes 10 days times 10 stories, 100 stories. And that's what the Decameron is. I said, let's do that for songwriters. So we called up a bunch of our friends and said, write a story song. And then we'll all get together in a Zoom villa and we'll entertain ourselves. We didn't do it for 10 nights. We thought just one night would be enough. So we call it the New Decameron. And it's a collection of 10, actually by now we're up to 12 story songs. And we shot the video ourselves. And so the video has a very do-it-yourself feel to it, but we do each song in a different way. One of them is a puppet show. One of them is, it's coming out soon. We're finishing it in June. And it was slow because lockdown ended and we all got busy doing other things.
Yeah.
We had to bring in somebody to sort of to crack the whip and get us to finish it. We learned how to edit in Final Cut Pro.
Yes.
Which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's like
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I love it. But it's really
editing is, it could be tedious. It could be,
It's so beautiful though when you see it come together.
Yes.
And it starts
that's the magic of it all. Exactly. If you can, if you can be patient and just know that there's going to be something beautiful as a result. Absolutely right. That's so that's fantastic. That is cool. What are some other things that you do out of the entertainment world, John, off stage, out of the studio? What are some other things to balance life out, and how do you balance out, all the creativity and being so busy in the industry and all these years in your career, your illustrious career? What are some other things you do to balance life out?
I don't do anything to balance like that. I'm completely unbalanced.
He's unbalanced. He's revealing that exclusively on the Jim Master Show. Write that down. That's another JMS exclusive.
I'm sorry to say.
He's announcing it here.
I mean, everything that I do is, we go on vacation, the family, my son and my wife. My son is now all grown up, but we used to do that. We spend time with friends, but mainly I just make stuff up. And that's what I like to do. I try to write every morning, and I start a lot more songs than I finish, but I'm a songwriter, just dyed in the wool. And all the other jobs are really related to being a songwriter first.
Right.
Producing music doesn't have to be my songs, but it, generally is.
Well, somebody, I believe it's Merlin watching in Ontario, Canada. She said, do you also play cover songs as well? So do you play, other people's material as well in addition to your own?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did a cover of a Christine Lavin song and actually we've written a couple of songs together.
She's wonderful. You mentioned
Yeah.
Hillary Rollins too. She came through the show, and she was fantastic as well. I mean,
She's great.
yeah,
And what a great lyricist she is.
yeah,
Um,
very
but
much so.
but she was born in a showbiz trunk, and she is producing my show at Don't Tell Mama. Just
She is.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Just basically as a friend,
Yes.
but
Right.
it's so much easier when you have a good producer taking some of that load off.
There it is there, folks. There's how you can get reservations. The date's coming up. If you're watching this next year or 6 months from now, this is past tense, but still follow our friend John here.
Jim, I have to tell you, this is a little out of date because I think the first date and the last date are sold out now.
They are.
But there are
Wow.
some.
Congratulations.
It's a good problem to have, I guess, but I want people to be able to see it. So maybe we should have gotten a bigger room.
Right.
Now we find out.
Better act quick, folks.
But there are places for the 24th, and we would love to see you.
And then beyond that, like you said, you're touring New England and other areas, which is great, huh?
That's a show with a bunch of us on it, and those have been a hoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go to the Buskin and Bateau website,
yeah,
it's Buskin and Bateau and Friends. Do you know them? They're a great folk act.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
So it's them and Christine and me and sometimes Julie Gold and sometimes Shanna in a dress.
Wow.
Who's a younger performer and also terrific.
You have, talking about music, you have another thing that you want to share with us to tickle those ivories, my friend?
Why don't I do one of the 50 greatest novelty songs of all time, according to Dr. Demento.
Dr. Demento.
Okay.
You got it now since we built it up, right?
Right. So if you don't like it,
no refunds. No refunds, folks.
If you don't like it, blame Dr. Demento.
Blame Dr. Demento.
Of course, Dr. Demento has impeccable taste. And
well, of course. I mean, it's like that's par for the course. But how cool is that to be? Talk about range. I mean, you've certainly got range. You got chops. You got range. As Lou Grant said to Mary Tyler Moore or Mary Richards, you got spunk. And then he said, I hate spunk. But we won't add that part in.
That's great.
So this song has been authorized by Dr. Demento.
Quick work on the part of your staff.
You're looking at the staff.
He's great, Barry Hansen.
You mean as far as the quickness? I'm doing this as we're talking. I'm producing and hosting, and yeah, I got my thinking cap on tonight, John.
Good.
Elementary school, our teacher used to say that out on Long Island. I remember it was like first grade or just before kindergarten. Mrs. Blam, B-L-A-M. She very tall woman, sort of stoic. And she would come in and we'd be seated after the Pledge of Allegiance. And I believe we even had a moment of silence too. I remember there was Pledge of Allegiance, America the Beautiful, and then just a moment of silence. So there was nothing religious, nothing necessary. It's whatever you wanted it to be. But for 30 seconds or whatever, the whole school was just quiet. And then class began. And she would tell us, put your thinking caps on, students, and actually have us take our hands and go like this, like we're putting it on and attach it aside. And now our thinking caps are on and we're ready for kindergarten.
That's funny.
That's what
I like when somebody says something like, wow, Albert Einstein, when he came up with the theory of relativity, he really had his thinking cap on.
Right.
I think that's what did it.
That's what did it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Here's
so this song is my tribute to the state of Massachusetts. And specifically, when you drive around Massachusetts, whenever you pass a town line, you get a sign. They have a uniform billboards that they put up, and they say these things, entering
yes,
Dedham.
those white sort of right.
Exactly. It's like
The
a shield. And
founded in 1642 or something, right?
right, right. And you don't see that in any of the other states. And you see enterings sometimes, but it's not like this big thing. And I always wondered why they had them there. What was that all about? And finally, I found out a friend of mine told me, well, actually, there's a state law that is required. And I thought that was strange. But he said it goes back to the 1950s when Massachusetts had a governor who was a real machine politician. And this guy worked really hard to get this law passed. And it turned out he had a brother who was in the sign business. So this is Dr. Demento's favorite. Every year I drive out to Cape Cod for the last part of June. Leave the city by 10 and you're there in the late afternoon. On the way, there's a village called Marion that you pass through. The first time I approached it, I'll always remember the sign that came into view. It said, Entering Marion, and I thought, what a fun little sign. But the feeling of entering Marion had a kick that was hard to define. A rapturous rush, a physical flush, chills up and down the spine. For the few minutes I was in Marion, all Massachusetts was mine. Well, you know how it is. Got to be an annual thing. The first blush of summer, the event that would start each vacation off with a bang, was entering Marion. 3 marvelous minutes of bliss. How I loved entering Marion with her magic municipal kiss. Then one year, who knows why, I decided to try a new route. So I got out my map and I traced what I thought was a butte. After driving all morning, I came to the top of a hill, where a sign stood before me that promised a new kind of thrill. It said, Entering Beverly, which was lovely and not overbuilt. And the pleasure of entering Beverly far outweighed any feelings of guilt. I could say I'm contrite, but it wouldn't be right, for the truth is that later that day, I found myself entering Sharon. It was there, so was I. We enjoyed it. Hey, what can I say? By the next year, I'd try any route just for novelty's sake. I was cursed with a thirst that no single township could slake. Oh, at the wheel, I looked calm, but inside I was running amok. When a sign in the road dead ahead sent me straight into shock. Entering Lawrence, my God, I was out of control. And I'd no sooner finished with Lawrence than boom, I was entering Lowell. Then I backtracked and re-entered Lawrence, then Quincy and Norton as well. Around midnight I pulled into Athol and flopped in a Fleabag motel. I slept fitfully till the dawn was breaking, wrestling with this promiscuous route I'd been taking. Then wending my way into Darien, a name came clear as a clarion. I turned on a dime, and in 2 hours' time, I was entering Marion. How totally wonderfully great, how grand to be entering Marion after tramping all over the state. every sneeze bucket burp, every tryst by the curb had really just helped me to find I'm happiest entering Marion. I guess I'm the Marion kind. Oh yes, I'm the Marion kind.
That is that is fantastic. That is hilarious. And just folks, in case you had your volume too low, he doesn't have a speech impediment when he was saying Athol. There's real towns, and I'm going to have to check in on this because we have on my mother's side of the family an Aunt Marion and an Aunt Beverly from Massachusetts and Connecticut. So I'm
You
going
need
to
a
mention
musical greeting card.
I'm going to mention John Forster and see what they say. Yes, he did stop by years ago. We shall not discuss it, Jim. Now go inside and have the apple pie and keep quiet.
I heard a story after that album came out. I got a report of the town fathers, the selectmen of the town of Marion, sitting around in their monthly meeting with a boombox in the center of the table, playing Entering Marion, and trying to decide whether this was a good thing or a bad thing for their town.
That's right. The Chamber of Commerce coming together for tourism.
Right. Is this good or is it?
Please come back now. That is funny. How long ago did you write that?
That's an old song.
Yeah,
I think I wrote that in the early 90s.
Did you really, huh? Now,
some songs you just...
Now, even when you say that, isn't that amazing? When you say early 90s, an old song, that those two things would be in the same sentence. Goes fast, huh?
It does go fast. Something that young people don't really understand.
Got to take time to soak it in and enjoy it, because it does go very, very fast. If you were not doing what you do and do so well, John, what was plan B for you?
I actually was, I went to college thinking I was going to major in physics. And that was kind of plan A, until I got with people who are really good at physics. And I said, let me rethink this. And so then I shifted over to the music department. And
So you kept the zic part, physic to music. So you kept that part.
It was icky. Actually, I hit the English department in between those two, because I love the words as much as the music. You know.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I was going to just say that. Yeah. Do you, songwriter, singer, do you prefer being the performer or the creator of the material?
Nearest and dearest to my heart is writing the stuff.
Yeah.
I love to perform it, and it keeps me in touch with how it's being received, and with the contract between the writer and the audience. Because if you can write exactly what you want, but if people don't want to hear it, there's not much point in singing it for them. So I like to get out there and make sure that a song is landing the way I thought it was. But when other people do my stuff, I love that too.
Yeah. That's cool. So you're excited about Don't Tell Mama coming, happening, just selling out the days here. That's fantastic, huh?
I'm very excited about it. Yeah. It's really been putting it together. It's really been fun.
Do you like going out on the road? Is that something that's near and dear to you? Do you like doing it?
It's not. I'm not really a road warrior.
Right.
I have a song that is a tribute to all of my friends who are road warriors in the folk world.
Yes.
But for me, it's hard to write and tour at the same time.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
because it's really performing takes a lot of preparation. It's like a day that you're doing a show. It really you blow the day, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah, exactly. Because you're so focused on making sure that the show is going to be good, right?
right, right.
Mm.
So,
Why do you love this so much? Why does this run through your veins in the way that it does?
yeah, I don't really know. I mean, good question, but I think I think your brain um, there's a certain kind of songwriter brain where what you have to say is something that fits into 3 or 4 minutes. Um, I call it being a miniaturist. You know, I'm not a novelist. I don't need a whole novel to say what I want to say. Entering Marion that's good. Um, but as far as what makes one's brain work a certain way, I mean, some people have a brain for math. Some people can dance. Some people can remember all the steps. For me, it's songs, and I feel blessed to do it because here I am all these years later. I still am fascinated by the process of writing songs. You would think one might get bored with it, but it keeps evolving, and music keeps evolving. People keep finding new ways to write songs, and I keep hearing them and trying new things out. So, yeah,
Somebody who
it's
also understood longevity, Mr. George Burns in the house.
great. You have a few words for us, George?
I was going to say, speaking of the relatives in up in New England, my aunt Lillian collected dolls. Very serious collector. Had a whole room in the house up in Connecticut filled with very expensive dolls. He was one that got passed down to me, and everybody looks for George on the show with his cigar and his red hanky, his pocket square there. He's loving it. He's loving the music, and he understands, what you're talking about with music
You
and
would.
adding in a touch of humor and staying true to form, longevity, huh?
Yeah, George, you do mean soft shoe.
He
I remember.
does. He sends his love from Gracie as well.
I was wondering if Gracie is back there in the.
He usually, what you know what he does, John? He hangs down below here. He's below deck, and he's got his martini and he's got a cigar, and he then is sort of like an associate producer as he has his martini and his cigar in his director's chair. He's just hanging down there, making sure everything is running smoothly and that all wires are still plugged into the outlets and things of that nature.
Uh,
That's
he's your patch bay. Uh,
yes. Who are some of your favorite comedy legends, folks in the humor world? We've been talking a lot about music, but some of the other humorists and comedians and comedians and others who've inspired you over the years.
I don't know. I think Robin Williams was one of the greatest, and I feel close to him because I kept whenever I would come up with a really great joke, he would come up with it too, um, and and plus a lot more. But I was so happy when I had it in my song about rowing versus wading in Roe versus Wade, and he had the same joke a few weeks later. Um, so so he's definitely one of our greatest. But there's so many. There are so many. I don't even know where to start. Um,
Remember Ernie Kovacs?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Danny
got
Kaye.
Danny Kaye. Of course, Rodney Dangerfield with his boom, 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 and
Right.
Phyllis Diller. And
He
yeah,
explored how short a joke can be.
yes, exactly. Right. He and Phyllis Diller, just, when you're recovering from one and another, you don't hear as much about because, she passed earlier, but Toady Fields, another one who, yeah,
I never focused on her that much. I saw her on the talk shows, but
she would be on Merv and yeah, some of those other, the legendary talk shows too. And she passed early, but so, what else do you have on the horizon that's coming up? And are there things that you haven't done yet in this extraordinary career, John, that you still want to tackle? You still want to do? Maybe places you want to go?
I actually would just like to be able to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I I had a Broadway show years ago. I'd like to do another.
That's right. You did.
Uh,
Yeah. That would be fantastic.
yeah, I mean that's Broadway is a hard game the way the game is played. But my experience doing that show was a fascinating one. It was a show that was in trouble on the road. I was the lyricist on it, and I got to I got elected to rewrite the book out of town in Detroit, and I learned a whole lot doing that. Um, it takes a lot of stamina to do musical theater because it takes a while to get it right. And I've done a lot of shows that are uh, not in New York that have been really wonderful experiences. But my experience is that um, with each production of a show, you fix a bunch of problems, but it takes multiple productions of a show to really get it working, get it running. Anyway, so theater is something that I'd like to be doing more of.
And each city has, the audiences can be different based on where you're going, right? Do you ever tweak the material? Like some comedians say that they've tweaked material based on where they are and the vibe as well.
I certainly have tweaked stuff to adjust it for cities. I've worked a lot out in Seattle, which is a great theater town. And there's a theater there where I've been commissioned to do a number of things, including a panto, which is a British form, and so getting the local jokes was part of it. But yeah, absolutely. I definitely love working in regional theater. I actually like more than working in New York. It's
Yeah. You can sort of breathe a little bit and take it at your own pace. Anything that you might want to play a little of just to sort of take us out, my friend?
um,
And thanks for sharing music with us. So the audience has been commenting and loving it.
oh, good. I'm so glad. Um, you want a little bit of gentle going out music?
Sure, whatever comes to mind for you.
I'll play just on the piano. I'll just play a minute of This Pretty Planet.
Very nice. Perfect. That's beautiful. That really is absolutely beautiful. Gang, if you want to know more about our illustrious guest, you can go also, we've been showing this during the course of this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. There's his website as well. You can see all the cool things he's doing and learn more about his illustrious career and all the accomplishments and so much more. And of course, we mentioned Don't Tell Mama, NYC.com for the current production that's happening as well. John, this was really fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, and the show met whatever expectations you might have had as well, my friend.
Had a great time. You're really fun to talk to, Jim, and I appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing this.
I appreciate you. We started it almost 3 years ago in the pandemic, and playing off my TV and radio background, and we've done almost 1,000 episodes since, which blurs my mind as well as blows my mind at the same time. And meeting great folks like you and having great conversations like this and weaving in some music just makes it all definitely worthwhile. I wish you great success with everything going forward with the shows, with the tour. And we're going to keep that porch light on for you as well. You're welcome back anytime.
Well,
And
thank you.
oh, the pleasure is all mine. And I hope you spread the word about our show. We would absolutely love it. And everybody's just sending very nice and thumbs up and all kinds of beautiful things. Thanks, gang. Love the audience commenting
Thanks
around the
everybody who
world.
tuned in.
Yeah,
Come
they're
on down
here.
to Don't Tell Mama.
Your material available on CD and things of that nature, Spotify, iTunes, places they can go to get.
It's pretty much everywhere, and the new one will be out. The new one drops June 1st. But it'll be available here and there.
I'm laughing because we use that expression all the time now. It drops. And I always, whenever I hear that, I always think of the training when in radio and television, but especially in the radio station. And if we ever had like a CD or an album or something in our hands, if that thing dropped on the floor, the general manager would be in that booth within 5 seconds saying, "Did you just drop that?" Different kind of drop, huh?
Yeah. No, this is a different drop.
It's a different drop.
Yeah.
John, you're the best. Continue blessing and joy coming your way from myself and us here, and spread the word about the Jim Masters show. We would absolutely love that. If you know other folks you think, several you've mentioned on this episode have been through, all fabulous people. If you know others, feel free to send them our way as well. And
Great.
hope to see you soon too.
I will. Thank you, Jim.
All right. You be well, John. Take care now.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks for all the time and the music. You were the best.
My pleasure. Good night.
Take care. Extraordinary, right? You got some music, you got some humor, and you've got great conversation with Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, humorist, and music producer John Forster here on the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. How cool was that? We loved having him here. Again, John Forster, Forster, is the website. That's .com, of course. And don't forget, again, now, if you're watching this like 3 weeks from now, this is old news, but there are tickets left for the April 24th show at 7 in New York City at Don't Tell Mama. See it on the screen there. So grab your tickets. We appreciate. Isn't that a great shot of him? Smiley. Yeah. He's really a class act and loves what he does. Worked with everybody from the Olsen twins and is even celebrated by Dr. Demento and so many others. Really tremendous. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This was terrific. If you did, give us a like on our YouTube channel underneath this episode. What does that mean? Well, when you go to the section where there's a thumbs up, which is right next to the episode, kind of looks, maybe it's not as sparkly and shiny as this. However, there is a thumbs up icon that looks like that. Click the thumbs up. Drop a comment for us, since we're talking about dropping things. Drop a comment in the comment section. Leave a comment for us if you guys enjoyed this episode. And do come back and check out all the great shows that we have coming up. We've got a bevy of amazing guests who are joining us. A lot of great comments here, too. Thank you for all these great comments. We appreciate that here in the Lovelady Hall chat room there. That's cool. Appreciate that. Want to let you know that coming up tomorrow, for those of you that are joining us, in sequential order from episode to episode to episode, we have a renowned TV historian and actor, pop culture expert, writer, producer, Herbie J. Pilato is with us. He wrote a lot of incredible biographies, and he's worked on documentaries. He's worked with Sony and Warner Brothers and so many others. And he's written material on Mary Tyler Moore and Elizabeth Montgomery and the legends. He's all excited. He's here tomorrow. And then also on Friday, Barry Leonard Grant's going to be with us. She is a renowned stylist and author, founder of the Memory Circle. She's also a grief coach as well. And she's going to tell us how she shows people how they can heal through grief. The world has been experiencing a lot of that lately, and she is an expert in helping people deal with grief. And again, she's also a brilliant stylist and a fashion icon and so much more, all coming up on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show Series. We thank John for joining us here on the show, and we thank all of you for joining us as well. Around here, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, shalom, hasta la vista. We say slancha and moi loop, and take care and be well and cheerio. We also thank our buddy Ralph and the team at LMG, like a music group, for their support and love of the Jim Masters Show as well. We appreciate that. Everybody that supports and celebrates what we're doing here, which is having fun, bringing the world together, and having terrific, solid conversations and sprinkling in a lot of other cool surprises as we go along. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you, Jen, and everybody watching this episode of the Jim Masters Show. For all of us here at Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, take care and be well. Take care of one another, love one another, and we'll see you on the next episode right here. I'll be waiting for you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. There's a button that looks like that. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's black. No cost when you subscribe. Just click the subscribe button. You'll be part of the JMS Lovity family of viewers who enjoy what we're doing here. It'd be cool to have you with us. See you on the next episode. Take care and be well, gang. We love you all. I'm Jim Masters. Take care.